Hello, hello again, my friends. Let me say welcome. Welcome to another session of John Sports Corner on the SosoBone Media Network. I'd like to remind you that you can share this with your friends and send them to YouTube to SosoFat TV, where all the episodes of John Sports Corner is being featured. So you can walk from here back to the last 6, 7 weeks and catch up with the conversation that continues today. And today we have as a special guest, and I hope a more permanent guest, Mr. Michael Williams, president of the all of
Chambers.
okay,
Chambers.
Mr. Chambers. Everything it's my glasses. It's Michael Chambers.
I can take Williams too, that's a good thing.
you know,
I do.
president of the Cricket Hall of Fame. And for those of you who do not know that there is a Cricket Hall of Fame in the United States, you'll be hearing a lot more about it. So again, I say, Mr. Michael Williams, welcome to
Chambers.
Mr. Michael Chambers. Welcome to John's Sports Corner.
Thanks for the welcome, sir.
First of all, just let welcome, of course, Mr. Michael Chambers, actually the executive director of the first Cricket Hall of Fame, and we will get into that. Before we get into before we cut away the fat and the meat, let me just remind you, you may go to the Winner's Circle Sports in the SosoBone shop and get merchandise as listed, which includes, of course, the great Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. For Mike, I'll take out the rum and just give him the cake. But there is rum cake. So as I said to you, just go to the SosoBone shop and go to Winner Circle Sports, and you can see what you might like. And Christmas is coming; it could very well solve your Christmas shopping.
Yes.
But again, folks, welcome to this afternoon's presentation of John's Sports Corner. And again, welcome Mr. Michael Chambers, Executive Director of the first Cricket Hall of Fame. Mike, welcome, as I've said, but before we talk about the 43rd Cricket Hall of Fame induction ceremony, let us back up a bit, Mike. And on this platform, the first time you're on this platform, it is now a permanent platform. So let's back up and introduce our viewers to the when and why of the Cricket Hall of Fame.
Yes.
It's a long story, so I hope you have enough time. I thank you for inviting me, Mr. Trevor and Mr. John, on this platform. But I make a announcement that Mr. Melbourne, Mr. John Melbourne, is a Hall of Famer. He didn't say that.
Okay.
He's a Hall of Famer. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Mr. Trevor Smith was supposed to be inducted this year, but he had a little problem, so he's not able to show up. But we know we will have him inducted next year, right, Mr.
Yes, I promise.
Smith? You promise?
Yes.
All right, sir. So with that said, in my young days, I came to the US in 1968 just to visit, because when they were selecting the first youth cricket team to go to Barbados, under 19, I didn't make the squad, and I was very distraught. My mother was coming to the US, and she saw how troubled I was, and she said, you want to come and spend a couple of weeks, see if you can get over the anxiety that you didn't make the team, and So I came to the US, came to New York, 2 weeks later ended up in Hartford on a Saturday. The Saturday night I went to a dance with my uncle, and it was a cricket team, the Sportsmen's Athletic Club, having this big dance. Went to the dance, And I was introduced by my uncle as a great pace bowler from Jamaica, passing through, you know. And so that was Saturday night. And they had a big party. Sunday morning, I hear my door knocking. So my uncle said, go answer the door. I went and I answered the door. It was the captain of sportsmen's cricket team. So I said, good morning, sir. He says, good morning. Well, your uncle said you're a great player. All the members of the team are drunk, so I need a player to fill in.
I was about to ask you about that.
So Sunday morning, for the first time, I went out. And the funny thing, you know, gentlemen, I couldn't play in my name because you had to be registered to play. So I got somebody else's name to play in the first thing. And so I fell in love with the fellows. That was 1968. And I didn't go back home. I stayed in the US and I'm still in the US, you know. So we joined this club, Sportsmen, and I was really a good player, good hitter, good, you know. And so I had a cousin who was also a good player. One night we were at the bar drinking. And we were, I'm not going to say a little high, but we were not in our right minds. So he said to me, Brother Mike, the day is going to come when we cannot walk through that front door, you know, the youngsters going to turn us out. And it's our club, you know. And he's telling me that. So I said, so what can we do? He says, let's start a museum. So we can put ourselves in the museum. All right. That happened in 1980 after I came here at 68, and all those years went by and I was playing with the club, you know. And so now he is now saying to me, boss, we're going to lose this club, you know, because we going to get old. So we decided to do a museum. Well, in the meantime, there was a fellow by the name of Errol Hussein from Trinidad who had done some research and doing a cricket hall of fame. So somebody introduced me to Mr. Hussein, Errol Hussein, and I liked the idea of the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So we switched from the museum and we went to the Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame was sponsored by the Sportsmen's Athletic Club, because when we first threw it out there, we couldn't get any buyers. No, everybody thought we were crazy to be doing a Hall of Fame. Even when we wrote to MCC, you know, I don't know who came up to the club and took away that letter. When we wrote to the ICC and said, we are doing a cricket Hall of Fame in the US, they sent back and said, you guys are crazy. You don't play cricket in the US and you form a Hall of Fame, you know? And so in 1981, we had our first induction ceremony. So just to cut the thing short, that's how it you know, it materialized. And today we are 43 years and running, you know.
Well,
We're enjoying it.
I am glad we're recording this story, because this is
yes, sir.
But, you know, Mike, what do you think was the problem? Why, at that time, the major cricket playing countries across the world didn't think of a cricket hall of fame until some Caribbean immigrants in the US formed a cricket hall of fame?
No, it's not anything that's wrong with them. But remember, you know, the Hall of Fame is only a US thing. It's now becoming popular in the different countries where they have Hall of Fames now for different things, for different sports, but the Hall of Fame concept really started in the US. So I came here in 1968 as a youngster, and I actually gave up a scholarship at the University of the West Indies, and I wouldn't go back home because I was so distraught when they didn't pick me on the under-19 team to go to Barbados. I decided I'm not going back home, and I fell in love with the fellows in Hartford, you know? So I stayed up here and studied. So it was as a result of the education that I got here that opened my eyes that we could do a museum or we could do a Hall of Fame. And at the time, I was president of the Sportsmen, and the club was doing great. We had money because we own 2 buildings that are very valuable today, you know? So we were of a different caliber than most of the other sports cricket clubs in the US. We actually own our own 2 buildings, you know.
Yes.
So that is why I am not going to beat up on the guys down there for not doing a Hall of Fame and copying us, because they copy the right people. Because we only do things right, you know.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
But at the same time, Mike, there is something that distinguishes what the first Cricket Hall of Fame has done as to other Hall of Fames around the world, Cricket Hall of Fames. What's that distinction?
I just tell you, I just said it. We are educated based on the US form of doing. Remember now, you know, everything US do, they do it bigger and better than anybody else in the world. And we have all the expertise here that we can copy from.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I remember when Lance Gibbs, when ICC did their first induction, and they gave Lance Gibbs a cap. And unknowingly, Lance hold up the cap and say, "Is this all?" Because when Lance was inducted in the US, it was a big formal dinner with the whole 9 yards, with, you know, state reps and mayors and citations, you see. But we were trained to do that because we are in the US.
Yes.
So it's nothing wrong with the guys down there, but they don't know better, you know. So that's the only thing.
Yes.
Induction into the Hall of Fame here in US, whose home is in Hartford, Connecticut, is not limited just to US cricketers. Why have we gone outside then of the US to induct people into the Hall of Fame?
What happened was, when in the US, in 80s, when we started, there were no stats. Nobody kept stats. If they kept my stats from those days till now, boy, I would be a superstar in the cricket world with my, but I can't even find a record of my hitting a 4. But just a 6. All the books, the fellows just throw them away. We didn't know what it meant to keep records. So it wasn't until some people down in New York started keeping some stats. I forget what his name now. He's a Hall of Famer too. That we are now able to go back and look at stats. And those are only, I am going to say, not in the 1990s. It's going to be like in 2020 when they started keeping some good records.
Oh.
We only have about 5 good years of records.
Okay.
You know, we don't have much. We don't have much to talk about. So we said we would do 2 categories. We would do an international based on performance. That would be the international because they have records. And then we would do the US piece now. That would be based on administrative work, groundsmen who can roll the best wicket, who can cook the best curry goat. So the US piece evolved from administration to now we can start naming a number of players, but we still today are not able to find players who have actually achieved. What we can find are individuals who sponsor cricket, coach cricket, and now we're finding like presidents, treasurers who administrate.
Okay.
So we find most of the US folks come from that category.
Okay. Okay.
As I mentioned, you know, Trevor, the Hall of Fame up in Hartford, Cricket Hall of Fame, is not just limited to cricketers or personnel here in the US. And Mike just mentioned Lance Gibbs, but Mike, who are some of the great players who have been inducted into the Cricket Hall of Fame home up there in Hartford?
A number of great players. And one of our requirements is that they must come to Hartford and spend 2 days with us. The Friday night and the Saturday. The induction takes place the Saturday night. The Friday night, we have a little get-together. So we get to meet them and they get to come and see where the Hall of Fame is. So we have people like Sir Garfield Sobers. You know, I got into trouble. We didn't do Sir Garfield the first year when we started the thing. And boy, was I criticized. Well, you didn't. But there was a controversy going on because he went to Rhodesia.
Oh.
And some people were hitting back at us and saying, watch out, don't go down no slippery slope now with you know. So we had to wait until that smoke cleared out.
Settle down.
Sir Garfield Sobers was one of the greats. Lance Gibbs, one of the greats. Alfred Valentine's. Brian Lara has not been inducted yet, but that's another story. He's been invited. We have Sachin, not Tendulkar. We have what's his name now?
Gavaskar.
Gavaskar as one of the great players. The story about Gavaskar is when Gavaskar came here, he was a reporter in India. When he came to the US, we took him down to Bristol where ESPN is. And he met his boss for the first time. And his boss was a black guy. Now remember, Sunil was an announcer. He came here, and when he met his boss, and the boss heard how we talk about how great he was, he made him director in the Asian ESPN. So he left from an announcer and went straight to directorship in ESPN. Only because he was an inductee, Cricket Hall of Fame inductee, and he met his boss down in Bristol, which is about half an hour from where the Hall of Fame is. What's the next list? That bunch of I don't have a list of them right now.
Right. But you
there
know,
are
just
a number of great players, and
give
all
an
of them
idea.
came here.
Yeah, just to give an idea, as I say, it's not just limited to the US, but there's an international, if you put it that way, exposure, induction setup that also goes on.
Question for you, John, and Mike. Are there any women inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Yes,
oh,
man.
yes.
Well,
oh,
you
yes.
know, especially out of the US.
Okay.
You know, we have what's Power. Petal Samuel.
Petal, yeah, because I sponsored her league one year.
Oh, right.
About 8 years ago. So that's why I ask, you know.
Yeah, man. Petal is inducted. What's her name? Vanelda Wallace.
Okay.
Out of New York.
Okay.
Ivy Miabar.
Okay.
Yeah, man. We have some.
Yeah, it's because Petal flashed in my mind.
Right.
Why I asked if women are inducted, because it came to like, hold on a second.
And there are also women outside of the US who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Power. Stephen Power.
Yeah.
From Trinidad.
And what's her name again? From St. Lucia?
I know who you're talking about. The name slipped me right now.
Right?
Yeah, we have quite a Miss Eugene Gregg.
Yeah, Eugenia Gregg, right.
You know, I forget her name.
Yeah,
she's my favorite now because she's down in St. Lucia and she's pushing one of our favorite topics, mind power training for cricketers.
Okay.
Yeah, she's down in St. Lucia pushing that for us.
So you have a current library of all your inductees, photographs and everything like that?
Yeah, man. If you go on the website,
okay,
we have all those pictures, all the bio.
Okay, good.
And what we're working on now, we have a Hall of Fame shrine. We are outgrowing it now. So we are looking at Trinity Healthcare is promising, is threatening to give us a building.
Okay.
To put the museum into, because the CEO came to the building and saw the hall and said, this is too small.
Okay.
So he's promising to give us a building any day now.
Okay, that is good.
So so we have library, we have everything that we do.
That is good. I would be happy to be introduced to him so that we can sort of give Brandy's contribution to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, man. I will get him set up.
Okay.
Now, the Cricket Hall of Fame, whose again home is in Hartford, Connecticut, not only about induction of people who have made significant contributions to the world of cricket, to the development of cricket, but the Hall of Fame also has a hand in trying to develop female cricketers in Jamaica. Would you like to speak a little about that, Mike?
You're going to get me in trouble, but I will try. A couple of years ago, I was in Jamaica, and a group of female cricketers went to the U.S. Embassy to get visas. 15 of them total. And they were all turned down.
Oh.
And they were fit to be tied. They were, because they had spent so much money paying for the visa application and only to be turned down. So I got a call from one of the young ladies, and we were driving in the car with my brother, and I had it on speaker. And he said to me, don't hang up from that lady till she get to Portland, because she is going to commit suicide. That's how upset she was. And I listened, and so I told her, call me back a couple of days and let me go over it. And so when she called back, I made her a promise that she would never have to come to US to play in a women's T10 tournament. We were going, the Hall of Fame would make sure that there's a tournament in Portland every year.
Okay.
So we started now. So this is our 4th year coming up.
We're in Portland.
Why, I don't even know where the place is. But it's Orange Bay area.
Okay.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
So
you have Orange Bay, Oak Bay, St. Margaret's Bay, you know.
Yeah, it's close to Orange Bay.
Well, you know, I am from Mount Pleasant, right above the hill, up on the hills overlooking Orange Bay.
Okay, well, I'm going to give a joke. I have never been to the tournament. I only sponsor it and pay for it.
Okay.
And then what I do, I train the women in mind power training, the mental training, you know. And so the coach who took the ladies to the regionals, I think it was this year when they won everything.
Okay.
All right. The year before, they were whooped. I think they came last behind the last place.
Okay.
And I started talking and training, giving them some mind power lessons. And this year they went to the tournament, and they came first before everybody else. So they won everything and came with a nice little chump change, you know.
Well, I was gonna ask you if they make sure they had some yellow yam.
Boy, it's not the yellow yam that did this one. It was the mind power training, you know, because a number of the young ladies come from underprivileged sections of Jamaica.
Yes.
And so you have to talk them into believing that we have one young lady by the name of Natasha McLean, man. We have a fellow by the name of Dale Brown. Dale made mistake on one of the training session. Dale said to her, Natasha, you are the greatest female cricketer. You can hit the ball out of the park. She has, ever since Dale said that, she has been hitting every tournament she goes to, you know?
Pure six.
She has been, one umpire threatened to give her out once, you know, because she was losing too many balls, you know? Hitting everything out the park. Mind power training, yes. So we're working with these young ladies in the Portland T10 tournament. And the ambassador of from US to Jamaica who is a Jamaican.
Nick Perry.
Nick Perry.
Yes.
His wife is building a facility for the ladies somewhere in Portland, you know.
Oh, where?
Yeah, in Portland, they're building they found a school with an open piece of land. So they're grading off the place and they're going to put up, you know,
Okay.
fixtures and facilities for cricket. So,
Okay.
you know, that's what we
Mrs. Perry is from Portland.
Mrs. Perry is from Portland.
Mm.
Yes, so it's
Okay.
somewhere around Buff Bay and Orange Bay, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, and I know Mrs. Perry. Yeah, you know.
But yeah, man, she's doing a wonderful job with the young lady.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Let's move on a little bit here now, Mike. And let's talk about the 2024 induction scheduled for October 5th. And again, this will be the 43rd induction.
Yeah, the 43rd.
Okay.
Well, put it this way, the 43rd anniversary. What happened
Yeah.
was somewhere around 2019, we had a little hiccup when the Hall of Fame went dormant for a while, for about 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we came back into being 2020 when we did Survive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it started back.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's 43 anniversary, but it's about, I'm going to say 40 induction ceremonies. That is.
Okay. Good.
And at this point, can you reveal who are some of the inductees for 2024?
Yeah, man. Let me see if I find my list here. All right, for 2024, we have Roy Reid out of New York. Most people should know him.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Reid, he's getting the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Okay.
And then we have Abdul Razak out of Pakistan, Courtney Daly out of Jamaica, and we are doing the most honorable Prime Minister, past Prime Minister, Portia Simpson.
Oh,
now,
yes.
She's the only female picture that is hanging in the wall, in the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And people come up and ask, why is this the only female picture? And we explain to them, she was the one who brought Chris Gayle back to T20 cricket when CARICOM had banned him from playing. And she went to the meeting and said, no meeting, we're going to the first item on the agenda is Chris Gayle coming back. And so we had a meeting, and it was as a result of her intervention that Brother Chris came back into Jamaica cricket and West Indies cricket. So she's one of the inductees. And then we have now Grace Carrington, who is an umpire. Peter Jolly, he's out of New York. Dennis Heath, Leon Francis, Mayor Sid Schulman out of Bloomfield. Now people ask me, what is a mayor doing getting inducted? But this fellow became mayor back in 2007, and he's never missed an induction ceremony.
Okay.
He has come to every one of them, and he has been supporting cricket in Bloomfield, where he was mayor. So he's been honored. Lincoln Hurricane out of Florida, and Sudesh Jagashar out of Trinidad. And then we have some presidential awards. So I'm a Love, Pastor Egan Bovell, Pauline Davis, and Caswell Sewell. And then we are honoring Cricket Council USA. And we believe that it was the work that Cricket Council USA, they are promoters in Florida, out of Florida. It is the work that they have been doing for the last 20 years with T20 cricket. Because as of now, the US cricket program is not functioning. But these guys have been promoting T20 cricket from get-go. And they're still doing it. They do the US Open, where they have teams coming to Florida, and the prize money, some years, $100,000 for the first prize. So, those are the persons who are being honored this year.
Okay.
And as far as I know, Mike, the hall right now, in terms of attendees for this function, the tables are filled.
We have a Zoom meeting tonight at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to explain to everybody, please don't send me any more emails asking, can I get 2 more tickets? We met with the hotel last night, and we did the taste. And I told the lady we had ordered 175 seats. And when I went last night, I waited for the last minute when the taste was over, when we went to look at the hall. I said, can you fit 2 more tables in here? She said, why are you asking? And I said, well, I have 210 people. And she says, for you, I will do it this year, but please don't try to go over 200 because the room gets crowded, Now, if we know we're going to get a good crowd, then we go downtown to the Marriott. There can hold 400. But here by the airport, it's at a 200 venue, so that's...
It is strange just to say that, I mean, for years I served on the New York Independence Ball Committee in New York, the planning committee with Paulette Willoughby. And on occasion, we normally say the table is supposed to fit 10, right?
Right.
But when you can't get tables, you get chairs.
Well, that's why we had to do five tables of 12.
Exactly. That's what
Yes, we had to. That's exactly what she said to me when I mentioned that. She said, I must tell you that you guys, and when she said you guys, she talking about the West Indians, because they started going up there now to use the place. She said, you guys, when you come in and when you decorate this place, sometimes I walk in, I don't even recognize the place.
Yes.
Yes,
that's a trademark for West Indian functions. The decorations that just blows your mind most of the time.
Yes.
And for the most part, Mike, the induction ceremonies are always held in Hartford. I said for the most part.
Yes. We are now toying with the idea because we did 2 in New York and they were very successful. We did 1 in Florida and it was successful. So what we realized is that if you select the inductees based on where they come from, you hold the induction ceremony close by, then you'll be able to get a good representation.
Yes, that makes sense.
And even when we did Nick Perry, Ambassador Nick Perry down in Jamaica, at Melbourne Cricket Club, quite a number of persons showed up.
Yes.
So as long as you advertise and the persons you are honoring are deserving, people will come out to support them.
Yes.
Have you ever said to yourself, Mike, at any time, what the heck have I gotten myself into?
No. About 4 years ago when the program was in New York and I wasn't able to go, and persons don't understand how it tore me up. But what was happening at the time, my mother, who was 90, wasn't feeling too hot. And I am the firstborn. So she was hinting that a visit was necessary. And even though I was telling her the Hall of Fame, she was still hinting. So I had to make a choice. So I gave up the function. But what most people didn't know, I was in the room on the cell phone directing traffic while the program was going on from Florida. Now, here is what is going on, oh, Brother John. I haven't said it that I was going to say it tonight at the thing. Mom is on the downside of things now because she went to Jamaica in August and got it with COVID.
Oh.
So she has lost her taste and she won't eat. So now that is causing a little anxiety in the family. So I am in Florida tomorrow morning, you know, to go check to see what's happening. So I am telling her I am not missing the inductions, everybody. So see if we can postpone this thing till.
You know. Mike,
So
before you leave, last week program, Trevor and I had a discussion about the absence of Caribbean sports development in the diaspora. But, you know, since I am not too dusty in the world of psychology or sociology, would you like to give us your 2 cents about on that topic?
what, say that again.
The Caribbean, the absence of Caribbean sports development in the diaspora.
All right. Well, it's not that there's absence of development, you know. What is happening in the Caribbean? Brother Trevor used the word earlier on, ego. You remember you were talking about a gentleman who came to make a presentation and he believed that you guys wanted to hear from him when you guys wanted to tell him he wasn't listening.
Yes.
Well, what I have found out is that everybody wants to do their own thing. And so there are a number of training camps, there are a number of academies are now starting to come up. But because we don't have the financing,
okay,
you understand? And nobody wants to pool resources, not understanding that the larger the group,
easier.
it's easier
Yes.
to develop whatever you want to develop.
Yes.
And so in the Caribbean, that is what is missing. We need leadership in the Caribbean to get the development going.
But I think, John, we were more or less looking at that underground development in the diaspora. And because John's conclusion was that basketball, baseball, and football attracts the best talent in our diaspora community. So it's whether or not we have our sons and our daughters coming out of our foundation and looking at cricket as a sport for them. He was telling me that his son wanted lacrosse. Okay, so he took his son and sent his son to a lacrosse camp versus us having summer camps for cricket, and so that within the Caribbean community we could have that second layer.
But what is missing is the funding.
Okay.
And the funding is not there because we don't have. If I go to City Hall as a person and say to them, I'm going to do a cricket camp, they might show me a bone, they might give me $1,000.
Right.
You know, wherein if we have a group of guys who are doing this thing and we have it well organized, and now you go to City Hall, they will give you a $20,000 or $30,000 if they see the paperwork, a budget. But we come in with nothing. We just go and believe that they're going to give us, because if you notice, all the training programs are singly run by one individual kind of a thing.
Oh,
We have
Mhm.
yes.
out of that mentality,
Yes.
Mhm.
you know. And where we win in Hartford, the Sportsmen's Club, we have the West Indian Club, we have the Caribbean Club. All those organizations have their own building, their own facility.
Uh-huh.
So when we invite the mayor to come down to listen to us, we can cook him some curry goat,
Uh-huh.
you know, and serve some rum on the side and have a good conversation.
You can,
Mhm.
you
You
can
need
actually get
more of that in the Caribbean
you can
community.
actually get you can actually
Yes,
get some curry goat with meat on it.
yes, yes, yes.
That's what I'm on.
Yeah, man. No SosoBone. Yeah. So that is our problem. The development is going on, but it's limited. You know,
Okay.
we
Well,
need
I think that is something that we should put on the agenda because we have gone through a phase, where we said we had diaspora representatives, being elected to represent the diaspora, in the
right.
northeast, the south, and on occasion, after I analyze them after they have been elected or while they're trying to get elected, they don't have a clue as to what they want to do, what they should do. Not they don't have a clue. And I've said it, and much to the distress of some, because sometimes they think that they're politicians and they're talking, so they tell us what they're going to do after we elect them. And like, hold on a second. Again, if you say you're going to represent the people, you're going to ask the people what they want you to talk about, not what you want to talk about. Okay. And I think that part of our interest should be in developing social services for our children that reflects and carries the culture forward. Okay. Because unless our children are exposed to cricket and when we move on, they continue, we're going to be dependent on an immigrant population coming in to restock the platform.
But I give you another story, though, Trevor. I mean, I spoke about my son and his choice. Um, I think in the Caribbean, um, the children growing up grow in an environment of sport competition and
Yes.
wanting to represent the country. And I'm not saying that our kids don't have that desire also. But then I look at even like my daughter. We used to take her swimming, and she became quite good to the point where she was now being selected to be a member of the club.
Mhm.
But then middle school started, and she comes home and she says, "Daddy, my hair." The hair became more important than the swimming. Because, I mean, he was that good that I started having visions of her getting a college scholarship to swim.
Okay.
I don't have to pay money for swimming. But, Daddy, my hair. And out the window went the swimming. you know. So in saying that, I think like in Jamaica, you grew up around other kids who running for their school and maybe going to the same school or playing football or
Yes.
cricket. And
Mhm.
you want to represent not only a school now, but you're looking beyond school
Uh-huh.
to, to represent a national team.
Right.
And I think that is part of what is missing here.
Okay.
also to Brother John. Remember now, take me. I would never. I had no intentions of can my son go cricket practice because I don't have no money to send him to school. So what I did,
So,
I figured out soccer was his way out.
easier
Yeah.
scholarship.
He wasn't tall enough to play basketball. He blamed that on his mother. you know. So I took him to, and I made sure I took him to I went to every soccer practice every evening from he started playing soccer till he graduated from high school.
Mm.
And he went to a nice Lomis Shafy where all the millionaires go.
Okay.
And the only reason he could go was because of soccer.
Okay.
Mm,
And I tell people, just by rubbing shoulders with those guys, he
yeah.
didn't have to go to university.
Yes.
He heard the lingo, how money was made, you know. But
Yeah.
he went on to Trinity College, soccer scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm,
know, cricket don't have that yet.
All right.
right, right.
See? So that's what Brother Jatin Patel now is working on
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
with the Hall of Fame. We're trying to get the universities, and you heard Patrick come on with the guy from University of Hartford last week on the
Mm-hmm.
Zoom. I am promising them, if they give us a chance, we will bring 500 students to play cricket at the University of Hartford because we have a large Asian population, India,
Yeah.
Afghanistan, Pakistan,
Indian.
living here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I will be able to bring them if they just give us an in and they promise to listen to us.
Okay.
So we can now give scholarships to the kids to come to University of Hartford to play cricket.
Well, not only that, now that you say that, it is also possible, therefore, that you could be given scholarships from kids in Jamaica to come up here to go and play cricket at these colleges.
Yes, that's what we're saying.
Okay, okay. I thought
We
you were
go both
talking
ways, you
local
know.
kids.
We also give scholarships at the University of the West Indies. We just
Okay.
had two graduates, Jody
Mm-hmm.
Stone and
And Pink.
Stephen Pink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Those graduates, we give them 4-year scholarships to the university, cricket scholarships.
Okay.
So we're working it both because what it costs to go to the university in Jamaica, peanuts.
Yes.
So if you go down and get a 4-year and come back up and do an extra year for your masters, you win.
Yes.
So we are looking, so we have been doing a lot at the hall, you know, in that respect.
Well, this is excellent information to be shared with the diaspora.
And this is why I said it's not just the induction.
Right, right.
Yes, into the Hall of Fame. The
Yeah.
Hall of Fame is doing more than just that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mike, is there anything else you'd like to share with us, Mike, before I know we have another big meeting at 8 o'clock?
No, you know, now that we are on here, we have one guy who is going to be inducted, and we have one guy who was already inducted.
Okay.
I am pushing on the Hall of Fame mind power training because everybody is asking why is the West Indies failing, and we are telling them until they introduce mind power training, the West Indies will not get off the bottom of the heap. They will remain number 10 in Test cricket because the fellows don't know how to focus. They don't know how to concentrate. And we teach that. That's one of our training at the Hall of Fame. We have a mind power training program.
Okay.
But you know, I have a concept with that too, you know, Mike. You look at our trial games and say in Jamaica you have trial matches to select a national team. And you have a 3-day match. Match finish in 2 days. I wouldn't have the players going home at the end of those, have a day off, you know. Them coming back to play some more cricket, that they get into the habit of being on the field
Yes.
for, for an extended period of time. And maybe helping them to focus more on the job at hand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it comes even from, maybe from our schoolboy cricket. The schoolboy is going to play a 4-inning game, and it's a 2-day match. What sense that makes? How are they going to go for a batsman then? He knows he has to play what? 4 days of cricket, 3 days of cricket. You go there and you bat, you focus, you want to bat long. Mark, I'm not sure why even in a 2-day game, they go there and don't seem to focus to try to bat long, And maybe the other team don't get to bat because it's a 2-day game and the team that bat first bat for the 2 days. And that, to me, that is the kind of focus I would like to see our youngsters developing. As Mike said, mind power.
You see, I ask you a question, When you were a youngster, how many radio stations were in Jamaica?
One.
One?
No, man. We are two.
Well, all right, even two.
I'm really fusion.
I know you're RGR and JBC. You listen. RGR and JBC. One was for one side of the island and one was for the other.
How many TV stations?
One.
So when we were coming up, we were fortunate. Our minds weren't cluttered. Okay. These fellows are watching 500 TV stations a day.
Oh, yeah.
So their brain, remember now, anything that you learn from your born till now is still in your subconscious mind.
Yes.
The subconscious mind full of junk. Traumatized, so we have to get rid of some of the trauma.
Your attention span is very short.
Exactly.
Very short.
Yeah, man. So if they do that, they'll be in good shape.
Well, maybe you have to just tell them that, they can't how to when they go to the crease, they just stay there and bat.
No, but listen. I will take you up on this. They will take 2 evenings, 3 evenings, and you tell the world that we're going to do mind power training. Tell them, invite them to come on your station and we'll do a chat and go over. I will give you that.
Okay. You can set up that Zoom. That is an excellent.
I will do that with you guys. And Brother John have one of the books, I wrote some books, Brother John.
Excellent.
We have to send one of the books,
I do a lot of webinars, on LinkedIn, among other places. And when you realize that, it's like I said, John, what we're doing right now is a production.
Right.
We're producing for distribution. So the same way, if you actually do a mind power webinar,
right,
once it is recorded and edited and structured the way you want it, it means that it crosses time zones now.
Yes.
That anywhere they are, want to put it on a platform or on the website, they can go there, sign in when they're doing this the webinar, and when that is when they're registering, how long they stay there. So if you're gonna give them a certificate or something for completing the course, they have to sit there and then sign out after it is completed. And when they're going from page to page, they might have to check off certain things, that they're sitting there focused. Okay, so it's something we can review, very much so.
We can do that.
Yep.
Very much so.
Well, Mike, thank you so much, Mr. Executive Director of the first Cricket Hall of Fame, taking the time, from a busy schedule to join us here this afternoon on John's Sports Corner on SosoBone Media. Thank you, Mike.
Yes, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and I did enjoy it, and looking forward to coming back.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So, Trevor.
Yes.
I do have